Hello, Mondli Makhanya is the editor-in-chief of the City Press newspaper, and of course a person who's been involved at many senior levels in media organizations around this country for quite some time. Mondli, good day to you. Thank you for your time.
Greetings to you.
The topic of the summit today is populism, and it's tempting to say that we might, as South Africa, be entering a phase of populism. But about 10 years ago, I think you used the phrase that Jacob Zuma has uncorked the genie of populism. We've strangely been living with populism in our politics for quite a while.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think the past 10 years have been defined by populism. The whole rise of Jacob Zuma since 2005, when he was fired from president as deputy president, right up to until he became president of the ANC in 2007 and then president of the country in 2009, it was all in a wave of populism. People were unhappy with the predictable nature and staid nature of the Mbeki years. And Jacob Zuma was going to provide something different. He was going to be he was this man of the people, and there was going to be an acceleration of change. And so he came with that, and his presidency has been all about that. And I think we are now at a point where he's really defined South African politics around populism, to the point where even the person who wants to take over from him, obviously his ex-wife, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, is also riding on that wave. He's preaching a very populist message and wants to continue with his populist politics beyond Zuma's time.
Radical economic transformation looks like populism, or a new phase of populism. Do you think that we're going to enter a new phase of populism that's maybe even more populist or more radical? Or do you think that conventional politics in South Africa might hold it back? I suppose, in a way, I'm asking you to predict December.
You know what? I think there's a pushback against populism. I think we might actually be at the tail end of that period. Because I think people have seen through the populist politics of Jacob Zuma and the people around him. And that if you look at the protests that have been happening against the Zuma government, and it's not just urban elites, and it's actually there have been a lot of like grassroots people. They are stopping to believe that message. And if you see kind of like the protests that actually also happen on the streets, like the burnings and so on by people in the townships, it's people disbelieving that message. You don't actually care about us. You just preach this thing. So I think there is a pushback against populism. And even if Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma wins in December, I think she will be tamed by the reality of what she will be going into. She will be tamed by the fact that the fiscus is the way it is. And whatever it is she promised, she will not be able to do. And I think that people have started to define populism alongside corruption now. And it's a message that South Africans are getting. And I think it's a very positive thing.
The media plays a big role in populism. I mean, if you look at Brexit, the tabloid press in the UK, if you look at the United States and Donald Trump and the rise there, and he's obviously a populist, you see Fox News and the idea of a media that creates a situation in which it's us and them. Attack you either with us or against us. They sow divisions. You have to pick sides. There's no fence sitting. There's no middle ground. Professor Adam Habib, political analyst, obviously Vice Chancellor at Wits University, has suggested he sees elements of that happening in the South African media. Do you see that?
I would totally disagree with that. I think South Africa actually swings against that. I think the South African media has been very middle ground. It has swum against the populist tendencies. And even at the time when Jacob Zuma was rising, he was rising on a populist tide, and you could say that his populist tide actually defied the media mainstream. And even throughout Zuma's presidency, the media has been basically steering a ship that says, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is correct, and to the point where we have been described as being out of touch. And actually we have been doing what we do. And you've actually found that a lot of society's perceptions and where society's views have moved have actually come right back to where we've been. I would say we're in the middle, but I think kind of like we've actually held ground. So I think our brand of populism is quite different from other brands of populism because it hasn't been driven by popular media, so to speak. I think the only time that populism actually had a home was at a time when the late Dion du Plessis ran the Daily Sun. But even then, Dion du Plessis was tapping into a populist sentiment that was already there in society, and he made his newspaper the newspaper where Zuma could communicate with the people, and he was basically just exploiting an existing base.
Mondli Makhanya, Editor-in-Chief of City Press, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.